Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. I have been waiting a while to do a reaction to one of these Warhammer reveal streams. And, of course, the first one I do is probably going to be the reveal stream where the lion returns. I have been waiting 5.5 years for this. I was speculating the lion would return immediately after Mortarion came out, just because the Death Guard's main color is green. I am not kidding you. When Magnus released in 7th edition, and then Guilliman came out like 3 months later or something. Oh no, it was 5 months later. Something like that. And then Mortarion came out. I instantly speculated the lion will return. And tonight might be the night. We are just waiting for the stream to kick off on GW's end. Let me just get the audio to a point where I can actually hear it on my end, and we'll figure out how to adjust it once we get the thing going. Might as well transition over, and hey, face cam, you get that for once, so that's fun. Yeah, I just figured, let's show my hype on screen. It's been a while since I've used the face cam, actually. I think the last time I used it was the last Monpok video on the main channel. Oh god, I hope that's not right. Anyways, you get to see me and all my exaggerated showmanness, because I don't know how to live my life otherwise. Anyway, so the lion's going to be revealed tonight. We got some heresy reveals also, apparently. I'm just going to pull up the... Okay, Valrak's at it. All I'm saying is that tonight should be fun. I honestly don't know what else they're going to reveal tonight. Like, what games are being covered for this? I don't even remember. I gotta look this up. Also, I'm just gonna say this now. The moment, if the lion does get revealed tonight, the moment he goes up for pre-order, I am putting in an order. I don't care. Like, I have been waiting too long for this to not put in an order. Like, the only reason I didn't put in an order for the Heresy version of the lion was because, A, I didn't have the money at the time, and B, I suck with resin. Maybe I'll do it eventually, but a plastic lion would ideally come first, so... Because I need to get some better practice with resin, so I'm probably going to order some Inner Circle Knights at some point, because, again, I do have Heresy stuff now, because, they actually made it in plastic. So, albeit that reminds me, one of these days I need to actually finish up these last 10 Tactical Marines I have, plus a box of Mark 6s I have lying around, plus a box of Mark 4 Marines that I have lying around that I found the other day, plus a Kratos. So, that should be fun, especially considering I'm building 10 of the Mark 10s, or Mark 4s as Heavy Bolter Marines. The other 10 is Veterans with Swords. I 3D printed some bits for that. And then the Mark 6s are going to be built as 2 5-man Seeker Squads and a 10-man Support Squad with rotor cannons. And then the Kratos is, well, a Kratos. I haven't even... I've primed the sprues, but I have not actually started building the thing yet. Working through a 200 model pile of shame is not a fun time, let me tell you that, but I am making progress. I'm back under 200, as anybody on the TFTCG Discord will tell you. Right now, I'm working on 10 Tactical Marines for Heresy, plus 5 Assault Terminators, and a couple of Rune Wars models, so I'm confident by the end of next week I can get down to 190, maybe 180 if I move fast with the tacticals, but we'll see what happens. Should be good, and I'm aware nobody's here right now, but hey, might as well still have some fun with this, Oh, and here come the Plastic Thunderhawk comments. Although, we're one step away from having that full meme from like 5 years ago, Plastic Sisters and a Plastic Thunderhawk with the lion on top. And considering the fact they've said that all generic Heresy units are going to be ported over into plastic, I honestly think we're going to get the Plastic Thunderhawk at some point. And I'm tempted to immediately splurge on it, but I know I probably shouldn't. Because, like, what would I even do with it? Like, a Cerberus or a Typhon, like, that's a little more reasonable. That you can cram into a standard 3,000-point game. How are you getting a Thunderhawk into that? Which also makes me wonder how they're going to do a Stormbird. That is going to be an interesting thing to see if they do that in plastic at some point. So, that's fun. Actually, let me turn on the background noise here. And, let me open up the properties and see if I can adjust that. No, I cannot. Joy. Alrighty, let's, up the volume to about 80% on that then and see what happens there. Alrighty, we are at the mark. Let's see how this goes, although we're actually a minute past the mark now that I'm looking at it. Come on! Show me the plastic! Come on! And of course, their chat is just going off like, you're late, you're late, you're late. I mean, it's Twitch chat, what do you expect? Oh, this should be good. Oh, no, that's just the background music. I heard a weird clicking noise and I'm like, oh, we're starting. No. What can you do? So, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, yeah. Got a Starhawk for Armada the other day, so, yeah, this thing is huge. Not SSD huge, but it's still really it's a neat model. I do need to play more Armada someday, but the problem is, I really haven't had time, and plus, I only have, like, 3 Imperial models, not counting Squadrons. It's like, it's a Victory, a Gladiator, and a Raider, and then for Rebels, I have so much more. Let's see, it's the CR-90, the Nebulon B, the Phoenix Home, 2 Assault Frigates, an MC-80 Home 1, and then now the Starhawk. So I got a decent Rebel collection. So, we'll see. One day I'll get it on the channel, but for now. Okay, where are they? Come on. Are they gonna go?
Hello and welcome to
there they go, there they go.
Preview coming live to you.
Here we go. Here we go.
2023. I am Eddie, and I'm
now,
joined today by
first
Mike,
question: is it going to be 10th edition or is it going to be Space Hulk? I mean, this is the big question outside of the Lion that everybody's been asking.
Adepticon is one of those founding events.
This should be good.
It is one of the largest Warhammer events in the world.
It
is run by a passionate group of volunteers and folks who just love
my heart is a weed eater right now.
Over 1,000 of them in the room here and share everything we're about to go through with everyone on the line. I'm buzzing.
So what games are they going to be talking about tonight?
40K,
Age of Sigmar, Heresy, Kill Team, and Underworld. So 2 games I don't care about. The other 3 we'll see. Well, Age of Sigmar I have a love-hate relationship with because like I really only care if it's Seraphon reveal. So during the LVO, you can bet I was absolutely ecstatic. But then 40K and Heresy, just give me.
The fact that it's like 3 a.m. in some of our core demographic.
Alrighty, this should be good.
Show.
Absolutely.
Okay, they're just rambling on right now about, it's 3 a.m. and you can hear this, so
3 or 4 in the morning over in the UK.
I'm not used to having the background audio on that I'm commentating on. Usually I have that turned off for TFTCG stuff. But here we are with it now.
You were in the UK just yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
actually, I'm going to turn it down a little bit.
Not without incident, but it's all good. We're
here now. You visited many cities on your way to Chicago.
Yeah, well, I can already see in the chat we've got loads of people. It's going flying by so fast.
Yep, chat is absolutely going nuts.
Denmark,
I mean, this is
Europe,
about standard.
China, all sorts of places. So the Shire I see in there as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
And of course, a few Hobbit jokes because why not?
Yeah, I'm excited to share it.
Also, I do have
got any theories
my Lionel Johnson shirt on because why not? I seem to have misplaced my Ravenwing shirt for some reason. One of these days I need to go find that.
Things we can talk about over the next.
Which, by the way, it's just the Ravenwing symbol and it just says "Keep calm and Jink."
It's just wild guesses.
Which I was annoyed at that shirt for about 2 months because I got it right before 8th edition happened, and they got rid of cover saves. So I thought that shirt wasn't going to make any sense anymore, but thankfully, Ravenwing did keep jinking because, well, it's kind of their thing.
Mr. Events for Warhammer.
I am.
So tell us what Adepticon means to you.
Well, so
Yep, and now...
all of us who come to Adepticon, and I've been here many times, I came here many times before I joined.
Yeah, we
really
get it.
inspired
Conventions
me
are exciting.
into
I would know. I
the
was
sort
at
of event side
TFCon
of the
last
hobby.
year.
It's inspired me to run events of my own. It inspired me in how I've approached Warhammer.
And one of
when it comes to
John's
engaging
buddies who
community
plays
personally.
Warhammer
And events
is
like this are
now,
really a representation of the
is
community
now
itself.
messing with me
Community is
because
really
he
without
refers
community,
to the
there's
weapons
nothing,
of the
and
Dark
without
Age strat
Warhammer,
as
we would
weapons
be
of the
nothing if they had
Duck
this
Age
community
for
and
some
really large
reason.
here at an event like
And
Adepticon. Never had the
he's
chance
now
to go.
quacking at
I
me,
recommend
as
it.
you can see
Doesn't
in
matter
chat.
where you are, there are people come from all over the world to attend.
But yeah, conventions
It's sort
are
of the
fun. I was at
godfather of
TFCon last year, and I'm
indie
gonna be
events.
there again this
Adepticon
year.
existed before
So,
that.
should
so it's been
be a
great to see
fun
it over the
time.
years, and I think
But
this
we're
is
here to
the
talk about
only
Warhammer.
year
Let's
they've
be
been
honest with
doing it
ourselves.
at
Although,
Adepticon.
the friend of
and-
John's I was
and
talking about, I was
rumors
playing
are
against
bringing
Warhammer, playing some
enthusiasm
40k against
for it
him and
in the
another
room.
guy
It's
a couple
palpable
weekends
from
ago,
the moment that
and
folks started to walk in.
the
I
friend
really
in
can't
question
justify
decided to
sharing
hide half his
publicly, and I
army,
encourage folks
which
to
was
take a look at
secretly
the coverage
fallen
of
models,
the War
just to
Conference.
troll with me, which was like
And
one
if
of
you've never
the...
made the journey yourself,
I couldn't help but laugh, but I was
take
also
it. Come say hi to
absolutely
us. Eddie and I will be on
outraged by
stage, I'm
it.
sure year in, year out, and telling you
And
all
we're
about
getting
the latest
ads.
reveals, and I think
Joy.
It's getting close to the time that we should probably...
I think we should probably show them some stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
It's stupid o'clock in the morning some places, so we should
Stupid
probably
o'clock
let them
in the
see some
morning,
cool
I
things.
love
We've
it.
got a pretty good one to open, so
do
should
we?
we roll the first video?
I suppose we probably...
Alrighty, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, here we go.
The State of the Galaxy, the Dark Angels, the Arcs of Omen series has...
Wait a minute!
Great.
Is this already happening? Is this already happening? They're leading with it? No shot! I thought this was gonna be at the end!
Sent out the Arcs of Omen, Vashtor the Archifane is now at large, and Angron is on a rampage.
No shot they reveal this right at the beginning!
Character in the entire galaxy who could stand against Angron. That's
Yes! Yes! And after 5.5 years, let's go! The Lion returns!
Chapter.
Woo!
Returning Primarchs are a big deal. The return of Ute Gilliman, that was an era-defining moment for the inhabitants of the 41st millennium and for fans of the 41st millennium. It doesn't happen very often. And this is the second opportunity in my lifetime, certainly, to see a living Primarch return.
He's been deep in the rock for thousands of years. All is lost to chaos.
He's back.
But this is where...
Let's go!
And this is where he makes his stand as a light in the dark.
Oh, that is
Knight
a...
standing alone.
Oh, that model is
Grew up as a feral
glorious.
youth on a forested world full of monsters and then taken in by knights after he'd spent years hunting down creatures of chaos. And that's pretty much what he's gone back to doing.
Cypher!
He's found half of the galaxy.
Your
completely
ass
consumed
is
by
done.
darkness, warp storms, chaotic beasts. So he's
I
set out to
cannot believe they
He is
led
going to
with
reunite,
this.
you'd imagine, with the Dark Angels chapter.
Just
Woe betide
wow!
somebody who finds
I was
themselves on
expecting
the
this
side
to
of
be
the
the big
battlefield.
reveal at the end, but no, they're just leading off with it because why not? Let's go! There's an order being immediately put in for it. And book 5, The Lion. Let's fucking go. Yeah!
So, the
Leading
Lion has returned.
off
a
with
brand
a
new
banger.
Primarch has returned to Warhammer 40,000 to the 41st
It took
millennium.
5.5 years, but they finally did it.
Some of you.
Oh, this is gonna be so much fun launching him out of a Spartan with a 10-man Knight Squad and a Deathwing Ancient nearby.
Quite old. He is 10,000 years old.
He is. He
You know,
hasn't been sitting
let's-
comfortably in stasis for 10,000
Yeah,
years.
it's
actually.
probably on like a stone slab as well. So
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
know,
sound
that'll
very
do something
comfortable,
to
actually.
your
I don't
back.
want to talk about that, Eddie, at this point in my life.
Fair enough. Well, so let's have a look at the miniature then. So we've got
Absolutely.
some shots of it.
Okay.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So we got
miniature.
2
Early
Watchers,
contender, I think, for
we
miniature
got a
of the year.
staff.
One of the most anticipated Warhammer models I think we've ever had the pleasure to reveal on one of our live streams.
Oh,
Every
this is
inch of
glorious.
this model is just dripping with detail and iconography.
Ain't
and just
that
the
the
raw,
truth?
gothic aesthetic of the Dark Angels.
It's been difficult for me to...
I
to
absolutely
even
love it.
fathom
I
how we got to this
absolutely
design.
love
It is
it.
because it's stunning. And then nothing that I could have expected was actually fulfilled with it because it was so much better than what I was imagining. And I gotta tell you, it was one of the better kept secrets of the studio. I could not see it myself.
Was one of the
Oh,
better
until I-
kept
what, a couple
secrets
days
of the
ago? So it's
studio?
been
Are
amazing
you
to see the
kidding me?
community
This
get
has been the
excited to make
subject
all
of
the wild
rumors for the
calls and
past
whatnot. Of
3
course,
months.
a video of a lion earlier today.
Yeah. Could have been about anything. Who knows?
Although,
So
when they revealed that
really
lion
lovely
video,
details to talk
I will
about.
admit, I thought this was going to
We'll
lead
go
to
through
an
some of the highlights.
absolute
So,
insane
a
troll where
sword,
they go and
brand new
reveal
sword, so
Russ
this is,
instead.
This is not
Thankfully,
the lion sword.
they
The lion sword is
didn't,
still with
but
around the galaxy somewhere. At
you
some point,
could have
maybe
seen
they'll
that coming,
meet again,
potentially.
but, it's not this day, but he has another blade which is more than capable of cleaving monsters in half with.
Okay, so he
He's
doesn't
accompanied
have the
by
lion
two
sword
watchers
back,
in
but
the
he
dark
still
who
has
are kind of
this.
shadowy
Which
forms,
reminds me, I need to learn how to do
follow
energy
key
effects
dark
on my
characters
swords
around,
finally. I'm going to be
and there
messing
is
around
no
with
more
that
significant
for
character than the
my
lion
praetor
himself,
and my
they
two
kind of
tactical
whisper to him in the
sergeants for
darkness, kind of
heresy.
giving hints about,
Trying to learn that
where
that
he
way.
might best
This,
his service to the Emperor.
I'm going to go all out with this model. I finally started to
Raise
redo
up
certain
the shield
techniques
there.
that I haven't done in years, like
He's
very
carrying the
basic
Emperor's
level
shield.
stuff
That
like,
is the glorious golden Oromite
what
shield
is it?
carried by the Emperor and now
Shading and
carried
stuff
by
like
his
that.
son,
Yeah, I haven't
much
done
the
that
same
in
way
years
that
because,
Guilliman wields
frankly,
the
I've
Emperor's
never
sword.
been competent
The
enough to do
Emperor
it, but I've decided to start
possibly
doing it
gifted
again
or
with the
maybe
assault
inherited,
termies that I
the
mentioned I was
shield of the
working on
Emperor.
earlier.
when
So,
he's fighting against the
yeah.
horrors of the galaxy, he can use the Emperor's shield to deflect
hopefully
them.
I'll be able to get my
Deadly
skills
blows
up
that
in
might
time
even
for
lay
when he
someone like him
releases
low.
in May,
Other
probably.
details on him there, you can see that the details on his armor are
Now,
effectively
here's
scaled
my
up
question.
more ornate
What is
than
that
other
gun?
versions of Space Marine power armor, so he's definitely still
What is that
fundamentally
gun? Like,
a Space Marine, right? He's a leader of a
I
Space
have
Marine
no
legion.
idea, like,
All the
knowing the
actions
Dark
of
Angels, it's
some
something
capacity
weird and
to
esoteric, but
operate
like,
into
is it plasma? Is it Volkite? Is it something more dangerous?
Well, that he's
Who
clearly
knows?
got that green element of the Dark Angels, but there's sort of that original, sort of darker hue to the
Yeah,
armor
talking
that's
about
as
the...
well going.
I like the way they
I mean,
did that
you
with
can
the black
certainly
armor
interpret
with the
that armor
green
as being
highlights.
black armor with a
I
slightly
like
green
how
tinge to
that
it.
blends everything
That's
together
cool.
with the old and the
Obviously,
new color
the
scheme.
green of the Dark Angels and comes from the
And
forest.
John is laughing at this,
That green colour
apparently.
scheme comes from, and the black was kind of their original First Legion color. So
Scorp.
the green of the Dark Angels Legion was incorporated.
What are you doing?
When the Lion joined, basically.
Does this look like an orc to you? This actually looks cool.
Into the paint scheme.
Don't give me
We've got Another
that.
shot of some more close-ups. So this might be my favorite thing.
Okay.
It's not my favorite.
This was the one thing I was worried about. I
is that there are
hate
4
painting
different,
faces. I will flat out admit
options for the
it.
Lion.
Never been a
So
fan,
you can sort of
although I
choose
did
how
willingly
you
build an
want your Lion
infiltrator
to
sergeant the other day. Oh yeah, I forgot I have
on
some
the battlefield.
infiltrators
So
I'm working
you can
on
have
and incursors
your
for my main
unhelmeted
40k
head, so he's
army
kind of there
as
the
well.
general of the forces,
Well,
bellowing
my main
commands
40k
to
army,
his
you know
legion.
it's Dark Angels,
His
but yeah.
chapter, you
I
can
do
have
not
the
like
option
painting
either with helmets
faces,
or
so I
without
was
to
hoping
have
that
a
there
much
would be
more
a helmeted
mysterious, kind of
option.
wandering knight errant sort of vibe.
There is,
the secrets of the Dark
Yeah,
Angels.
or
but
you
I
can go
don't
kind of
know
full-on
which one I'm
lion
gonna
helm,
go with.
and have the winged helmet that's become
So there's the
synonymous
hooded
with
one
the Dark
and
Angels over
the
years.
then
kind
there's the
of absolute
one with
icon
the,
of the Dark
the
Angels,
wings.
writ in the helmet of the of their Primarch.
I'm honestly
So
not
really cool
sure.
options, and the Lion is a complicated.
Is it
character.
weird that I want to buy
He's got
2
a
of these
really
now
interesting
just so I can
relationship
have both
with
helmet
Tyrion, with
options?
Brothers, with his own chapter. With,
I don't know, but yeah, anyways,
his
point being, I don't like painting faces even though I did build an infiltrator with a unhelmeted head for expression reasons because I was using some of the parts from the kill team upgrade sprue from the Phobos kill team box, and he's like pointing in this direction. He's got his gun like behind him like this far.
Yeah, so this model comes out alongside Arcs of Omen Book 5, which is the culmination.
So
of the
Dylan
Arcs of
wants to
Omen
let you know he
series.
won't troll you
The book
not
is
because
called
your favorite
Arcs of
toy is
Omen, the Lion, and it will
Toy?
tackle the finale of the
Toy?
story of Arcs of Omen, which will see a
Bruh!
showdown effectively between the forces of Chaos and the forces of the Imperium.
Sure,
On
spam
the
all the
Imperial
Fallen
side,
you
will
want.
have the Lion,
Bring it
on
on.
the side,
I don't care.
some of
He's
the Dark
gonna
Angels,
kick their ass whether you
and
like
some of
it
their
or
successors,
not.
And you'll have
And I need to
Dante,
stop looking
and
at my
you'll have
own
some blood
image in
angels,
the
so some of
camera.
the-
God, I have a problem.
The angels, basically, the angels of darkness will.
So it's a little shorter than
stand
Guilliman.
against the forces of chaos. On the chaos
Honestly,
side, you've got
don't
Abaddon,
even
you've got
care.
Ashtor, you've got Angron, so it's going to be a huge show.
So now all the rumors begin about
On screen
Fulgrim
right now, you can
because
see kind of how the Lion scales
of
up
course
against
it's going
some
to
of
be
the other
about
key
Fulgrim.
models
Like
that you'll see
we got,
alongside.
but
So
Thousand Sons and
there
Sevens,
against
Death Guard and
Intercessors,
8,
you
World
see
Leaders
quite
and
a lot
Ninth.
bigger
We're
than
getting
the standard Space
Emperor's
Marine,
Children in 10th. I mean
and
that's a
against
guarantee at
Recruit
this
Guilliman,
point.
He's the same scale. So he is a Primarch. They are brothers. Neither of them was known to be particularly larger than their brothers, so they are pretty much the same size. They're
Okay, so they're the
Standard
same
Primarch.
size, but Guilliman.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing Guilliman's a
original
little
best,
more raised
some
up
of
just
them.
because of his base.
Yeah.
True. His rock looks a little less tactical.
If anyone is going to stand on a rock,
Yep, there's the jokes about the tactical
It
rock.
does seem like what he does as a standard.
it's kind of his jam, right?
Eddie, never without a good pun when it's needed.
So this is the the artwork that comes
Oh.
on the cover.
I will
of
teach them to
Arcs of Omen
fear the
Book
darkness
5,
in which
when
they
you get
dwell
kind
and
of close
tread
up
the
on line
shadow
there, you
which
can
they
see that
believe
he
their
has
allies.
aims, basically. So
For there
as
is
far
no
as
greater
the
terror
narrative
hunting
timeline
the
is concerned,
Stygian
Guilliman has
void
been
than
in
the
stasis
Lion
for
of
most of the last 10,000
Caliban.
years. So when he comes out, fresh-faced,
And I
bright-eyed,
just got a
bushy-tailed,
tournament report here,
maybe
so
only
I'm
a
going to
few
mark down
centuries
some
old. The lion
data.
has literally been alive for all 10,000 years. So that's what a Primarch looks like.
Just a very long nap.
It's a really, really long.
Ultimate power nap is over.
No, he does have that.
And then, of
effect
course,
him
the
that
lion.
he
I'm going to have to
always
get that as well, probably.
looks older, and the reality is, for those that didn't pick it up earlier, he is indeed
Yeah,
quite a bit older.
He's pretty old. Yeah, he's pretty old. But he does have that kind of like ancient, venerable veteran knight errant sort of thing. So you can imagine.
And
that kind
here
of
comes the
character,
chatter about
and
what
this
Loyalist
happens in the
Primarch
Arcs of
could
Omen,
be
basically,
next,
is
and
he
everybody's
is
like,
wandering through
Vulcan.
the Imperial
Oh.
Nihilists, taking on.
Yep, there's the Alpha
Monster
Legion
hunting,
jokes.
basically, like picking up where he left off when he was a Knight of Caliban.
His primary calling.
Yeah, wandering out into the dark forests to take down the monsters that haunt the darkness.
And we saw that in his
Ah,
core, his
man.
focus being on teaching
I
them
am-
the fear of the darkness in which they dwell.
Alrighty, anything
Here he is
else in
alongside
this?
a Dark Angel's
Anything else
army.
in this?
You can kind of see how he scales versus some of the other units. So you know he's looks pretty cool.
Let's
next to
see.
Adepticon dreadnoughts and
So they put a hood on the Indomitus
his
Chaplain.
iconic
There's
force, obviously,
Azrael.
kind of has a little bit of all of the bits of the Dark Angels. So if you want to
Nothing
paint,
else
you can
new
certainly add some
hiding in the
Dock
background I'm
some
seeing.
green,
Old
and
Belial
the
model is
absolute
still
centerpiece
there.
of the Dark Angel collection.
Give us a new Belial model as well while you're at it.
Community post.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about the Lion, but Belial and Samael do need an
Yeah,
update.
I think this is going to be a painter's treat.
Doubt I'd ever play against him, but every time he goes down, I'd say, time
Some
for
shots
bed.
from
Bruh, it's the
Arcs of
Lion!
Book 5. So we can see here the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels fighting against the forces of first of Chaos, but Demons of Nurgle in this instance.
So Blood Angels and Dark Angels teaming up
one
to
of the
fight
things
Nurgle.
There's some really cool stories in the last episode of the Arcs of Omen, so I don't want to spoil it because it's got some absolute huge twists and turns. Even for those who've followed Warhammer 40,000 for a long time, there's some really nice payoffs to some very long.
What are they up to?
It is all I can do not to try and prod you to tell them more about it, because Eddie's given me a bit of a rundown, and it's been hard for me to not just want to kibitz about it with every single Warhammer fan that I can come across right now.
It's very cool.
Oh, and
So
there's
if you like
Dante
the
floating
lore and the
around.
narrative of Warhammer
I
40,000,
wonder how that got
for a long
revealed.
time. If you're a fan of the first
God, that
edition,
was
I-
hilarious.
I've
Just
got a Fallen
shipping
Angels
nonsense.
collection myself.
Traders.
Fun times.
So you know, I've got mixed feelings about the Lion, but he is the best Primarch. Let's be honest.
There you
I can't
go.
lie with that. We have more
Mixed
to talk
feelings
about
about the Lion, but he
Just
still
the
admits
Lion
he's
for
the
you.
best
Just talk about the Lion
Primarch.
for the next hour.
Oh, he
One
gets
thing
into
to
a
say
duel
about
with
this is that
Angron.
in
Oh,
the
that ought to
Book
be
5,
good.
Lion
I know
will
those two
fight.
have no connection,
So we have
but
a
who
situation
cares?
where
It's a
two
duel between the
brand new
Lion and
Masters,
Angron.
two
Might
new
as well.
Primarchs, both return to the 41st millennium. They will have a showdown in Book 5 of the Arcs of Omen.
I'm
So,
ordering this poster.
yeah. If
I
you
would
are-
order that poster too in a
If you are a
heartbeat.
Lion fan or
No
an Angron
question
fan,
about
please
it.
Let us know in the chat who you will be rooting for in that particular
Yeah,
battle.
can we do a poll there in the
But,
chat?
I mean, maybe.
We might be able to do
We'll
a
have
poll.
go.
Who should win or who will win?
Who will win?
Angron.
It has already been written, so you don't get to change it. But you can certainly.
You
Oh,
can guess what you want.
leading off with a banger. It's only downhill from
more
here.
stuff to
There's
show.
more to talk
It's only
about.
one-
Unless they reveal a plastic glaive for heresy. In that
It's
case,
creepy we'd ever
fine
done.
with me.
I think we.
In terms of the amount of stuff.
In terms of
in
the
it,
amount
yeah,
of stuff,
we
it
did.
would be an injustice if we didn't.
Zinch will win in the comments about who will
So,
win between the
we
Lion
are
and
leaving
Angron.
41st
Lovely.
Millennium for a little bit, and we are going to jump into the mortal. Oh, it's Heresy first. So
Oh,
we're gonna
Heresy.
jump to the Horus Heresy.
Wow, we're leading off with the heavy stuff right away.
Let's see what we got.
Ooh, the Siege of Cathonia. Ooh, interesting.
I'm Andy Hall. I work on the Horus Heresy team in the Warhammer studio.
So what is this?
The setting for the Siege of Cathonia book is the planet of Cathonia itself, which is the homeworld of the Sons of Horus. It's actually the homeworld of War Master Horus. As the War Master's fleets were advancing on Terra, a small detachment, calling themselves the True Sons of Cathonia, decide to peel away from the fleet and retake Cathonia in the interests of the honour of their culture.
Interesting.
So the book opens up with a really big, extensive.
Oh, I just
narrative
realized you can't
of
hear the audio.
Cathonia campaign itself. Then we go
Whoops.
into a section that sums up what all of the big factions within the Horus Heresy are doing at this point in the war. We also have some new core scenarios for the game. So if you wish to play through the events described in
There, now you can actually hear it.
You've got some special
I
scenarios
completely
that
forgot
you
about
can
that.
see
My bad.
earlier. We gave people a basic...
On the
overview
replay, you'll
of
be able to
skins
hear it, though.
in White Dwarf when the new edition came out. And
So
this
new
takes
Zone
that expansion into the system.
Zone
Full
Mortalis
scenario
missions. I can
system
speak.
in this book. It's also got a really interesting section on Space Marine inductii. We've got a new type of console, which is called a Decorium. We have the Infernus Abomination. And then the last thing in the book, there's a number of special characters and special models that you can
So
take.
a new console.
There's the two main leaders, the two main special characters, Garrus, Evander for the Imperial Fists, and Baron Ashahadden for the Sons of Horus. We've got models coming out for those rules.
Okay, so some new Fists and Sons of Horus characters, and then that new console, whatever that was.
The campaigns of the Age of Darkness series, and we intend to keep going with these. One really important thing to say about this book is it's designed to appeal to all Horus Heresy players. It's also telling a really important part of the overall story, and it's also giving people rules and scenarios and all the rest of it that will appeal to everybody.
Okay, so what other rules are going to be in there? They mentioned the console, and then the whatever that Chaos Assassin is.
Expansion book for the Horus Heresy.
Black books are back.
Yeah. So one of the things that was a huge
What else are they going to put in there?
First edition of the Horus Heresy were the black books. That was basically the main way that you engaged with the game, and they had
Like, are they going to bring over some of the expanded units? Are they going to like re-release Thunderhawk Transporter or something like that? What are they doing?
It's been one of the biggest questions we see on a regular basis is when are the big black campaign books coming back for the Horus Heresy?
Yeah, so this book is the first of that ilk, and it's absolutely jam-packed with stuff. We heard from Andy Hoare there a few of the details about what's going to be in it. So there will be brand new miniatures, obviously accompanying the new campaign book. But maybe more excitingly, actually, is this brings new ways to play. So there is a full Zone Mortalis set of rules. That's a hugely popular way to play Horus Heresy.
Yep.
Obviously, loads of the best bits of
So Zone Mortalis rules. That is appealing to me. I've been wanting to play Zone Mortalis for a while now. Never could find the rules for them, so good to see they're releasing them here.
Horus's homeworld on Cathonia itself.
Oh, and here come the comments in the chat about assault marines and plastic infantry and stuff like that.
Other new miniatures that these new campaign books herald. So it's a really exciting time for the Horus Heresy. It's like the next step. We've had the edition, we've had the kind of base level, and now this is diving into the detail.
It's pretty exciting to hear Andy talk about it as well. Even when he's not on a recording, there's a certain driving passion that exists there for Warhammer and for the brand and for the game that it is sort of hard to rival, and it's magical to see amongst the folks who are actually designing and building the product. And also to hear him talk about it as in his own words, inside of our regular meetings, a historical wargame in a sense, and that we view the heresy itself as a historical moment in the history of Warhammer.
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting thing about the Horus Heresy, which is that when people get really into it, they want like authenticity, right? So like people tend to go, I want this bit of the lore. I read this story, it was really cool. I want the faction, the specific company or chapter that took part in that battle. And these campaign books basically go, here is a bunch of really cool stuff that happened, and each of those moments, each of those battles gives you an opportunity to kind of go, that chapter was cool, I want that drop force, or I want that assault company, or this thing. Yeah, yeah.
Well, which would you be? Would you be a Son of Horus or an Imperial Fist in this particular
one? So in this one, I think the Imperial Fists are pretty cool.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Imperial Fists. Also, they're sort of like a little reflex.
But then, it is Horus's heresy, right? It's his game. So.
Of course.
It's his game. So he has enough spotlight. We can.
Yeah, that's fair.
So one of the.
Take the filthy traitors out of the spotlight. Come on.
One of the events where we actually have a 64 square foot Horus Heresy Istvan Massacre battlefield with hundreds, if not 1,000, I think at this point, miniatures recreating the whole experience and some of the scene for scene, shot for shot pieces of cover art from the Heresy. So I'm kind of a.
Again, so we have the Zone Mortalis rules, we have that new console. What other rules? Again, that's my big question. What other rules are going to be in here that are appealing to players that aren't Imperial Fists or Sons of Horus?
They give you a bit more of the kind of rich tapestry of the heresy, and what we know is that some of the legions and chapters.
I don't know why, but the fact that they're showing a Cerastus in the background of this book has me suspicious.
The Thousand Sons Legion join alongside the Imperial Fist for the invasion.
Although, actually, hold on. Let me go grab my heresy rule book. I want to go take a look.
I like the Thousand Sons. They're like one of my choices.
You're a fan of the small contingent of loyalist Thousand Sons.
That's exactly it. I'm a fan of those.
That's a deep cut, one that's also quite a sneak peek for those who are paying attention.
Cool. Okay, so that's Horus Heresy. Really cool. This book is going to be accompanied by loads and loads of new stuff. Dome Mortalis rules, brand new miniatures, all sorts of cool things.
So brand new models, and I just checked the Heresy rulebook cover. There's a Warlord Titan on it. We haven't gotten a plastic Warlord yet, so maybe I'm just overthinking things.
Mortal legions of the Space Marines, many of whom die constantly in Horus Heresy into the mortal.
So new models, new rules. Yay! New Seraphon stuff right off the bat. Dang! This is awesome. Okay, oh my god, that is gorgeous. Agradon Lancers, ooh. So these are the updated knights. Okay, they're keeping the old Carnosaur kit. There's the new spawn of Chotek, or whatever it's called. Oh, a new Croxagore. Yo, those are gorgeous. Oh my god, those are gorgeous. Croxagore Warp? There's more? Are there multiple variants? So this is why there wasn't a Seraphon model reveal. So here's the question. Are those Lancer Cold One things gonna replace...
we've always seen some new models on their way.
Oh, that's the rest of them. Okay. So...
This is the rest of the range, and
so are those Agradon Lancer things, or whatever they're called? Agradon Lancers. Are these gonna replace the existing Knight kit?
I'm going to talk about how much a bunch of clever girls these particular models are. I am excited about this. As someone who's relatively new to
Of course, this is Jurassic Park reference.
This is the army that got me into it.
Yep.
Yep, this is the army that got me into Age of Sigmar. I still haven't played a game, though.
Miniatures mean for my, well, maybe not for my wallet, but forgetting that part, I'm just excited to collect them personally.
Well, so Lizardmen was my first army when I started playing Warhammer.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I've got a definite soft spot for these guys.
Spirits,
We got some Lizardman
these are
fans in
incredible.
here. I like
So
it.
This is the Agradon Lancer unit you can see on screen at the moment. This effectively replaces the Cold One Riders that we currently have in the Lizardman range. They are significantly bigger than the current heavy cavalry of the Seraphon. This is a very, very hard-hitting unit. They are elite Saurus riding on the back of fairly large, angry reptilian cavalry.
So, does
They are
that
a
mean...
grinding force in close combat?
Does that mean that the Hawk If You Touched Kill team,
so that
flamer
they
units
are
for my
effectively
toaster
the dream
enthusiasts?
of growth within the dimension.
Oh yeah, for
Big
salamanders
very
probably.
strong
Or wait, are you referring to salamanders or word bearers? Because the word bearers did like to get a little flamey when it came to burning stuff. Buff Crocs, Hawk If You Touched Kill team. No, I have not, because frankly, I don't know, just that size game for Warhammer just has never appealed to me.
So wonderful.
Okay, yep, these are flat out replacing the existing Knight
There's
models.
some really, really nice new color schemes actually in the Seraphon battle tome that's on its way.
Yes, salamanders, okay.
What they've basically done is gone. You can paint them in much more varied colors. We've shown that.
So, here's my question. Are the base size for these going to be the same size as the existing Knights? Because I have a whole bunch of Knights that lying around, because I think I have... How many of these things do I have?
With life energy, and you can kind of extrapolate that into the various different realms. So if you want to kind of make your Seraphon your own and place them somewhere...
I like Kill Team, it's easier to buy, true, but...
Or you can kind of lean into...
I don't know, something about it being one squad or just like 10 models just doesn't sit with me right when it comes to Warhammer. For Armada, I can do that, but for 40k, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. I understand why people like it, though. I'm not dissing on the game at all, just not for me.
And when that was true...
Scar Veteran on Agradon.
One of the old ones had intervened and gone, this
Oh, that is a beautiful model. That is a beautiful
champion,
model.
given the best weapons,
What was I
be
saying?
bigger and stronger than
Oh, how many Source Knights do I have? So, let me think here.
This is a
So I have...
from the other unit, and again, that is a big...
So I have 4 of the start collecting boxes plus a loose one. 8 times 5 is... Oh, I have 40!
Big old
I have 40.
Massive space dinosaur, and I love your point there about the diversity of Seraphon.
So...
Depending on the realm that they're in, there's all that duality of the Starfaring, the Star Lizardman, as it
Yeah, and then they're talking about the color schemes and stuff, like... my Seraphon are kind of like all over the place because like their base green is a reference to the Dark Angels with their larger beasts that are operated by skinks being bone white and black. But then I have some other things in there. The Carnosaurs are a mix of everything. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the Bastillodon yet. My Pterodon Riders are actually a reference to Banshees from Avatar, because when I was first building those up, my dad actually made a comment about that, like, oh, these look like Banshees, because we had just been to Disney World about 2 months prior, and I'm like, well, I know what I'm painting these as. Still trying to figure out what to do with my Pterodons, or my Riperdactyls are painted as Banshees. My Pterodons I don't know what I'm going to do with yet.
There is one new Croxigore kit coming, and it makes 2 different units.
Okay, 2 different units.
Standard Croxigore, which are still hulking, enormous.
So the regular Croxigore have the clubs, and then there's these War Spawn.
And these are built and live for battle. So whereas a normal Croxigore in times of peace might help the skinks kind of construct pyramids or fashion things or move heavy loads around, these guys want none of that. They are just angry, massive crocodiles.
So they basically hopped over to 40k and got the butcher's nails. These are the buff Crocs. You can guarantee that I'm getting some of these. So, in terms of all the new models we got, no new Saurus Guard kit, which was surprising, considering they updated the Warrior and the Knight kit. So, we got the Warriors, the Agrodon Riders, the Raptidon Riders, the Spawn of Chotek, the Starseer, the Croxigore, and the Slan.
There is, of course,
that is a beautiful cover. Oh my god.
Brand new Battle Tome obviously brings with it all the new rules.
So now I want both the Lion versus Angron as a poster and this as a poster.
The Carnosaur, most of the big monsters that are relatively recent kits that are still really nice, stick around. But all of those new things we've seen are added to it as well. So it's a pretty big army now in terms of the number of War Scrolls you get to choose from.
It really feels like it's fit properly.
I've been waiting on Age of Sigmar to actually play it until this came out, and we're good to go. And thankfully I still can...
The first place you will be able to get hold of the new Seraphon and the new Battle Tome is an army box, which is on its way fairly soon.
Yeah!
Inside this box you will get...
I was hoping they'd do one of these, and what's in here? Okay, so this is the Vanguard box, essentially, because we've already had this confirmed with, I think, the Cadia Stands box, essentially, as well as, I think, the Leagues of Votan army box. The models in those boxes became the combat patrols. So it was 2 5-man units of Raptidons, a unit of Warriors, and a Star Master.
We were about halfway through Age of Sigmar.
Only halfway.
There's loads of cool stuff for Age of Sigmar.
So, that's good, because I still need a Star Master. I did not get a resin one ever, so... Ooh. Well, we've got some death stuff coming up. At this point, like, my interest has faded a little bit, so we're just along for the ride at this point, because, like, all the stuff I wanted already got revealed. The Lion and new Seraphon models. Okay, so some new Bone Reaper stuff. And then, ooh, some new Soulblight Gravelords as well. Any more 40k? Kill Team is coming up, which I think will be the new Terminators and the new Tyranid stuff. So Bone Reapers and Soulblights are getting new Battle Tombs. They didn't update the Gravelord's Battle Tomb art. Interesting. Am I the only one that found that new Bone Reaper model a little creepy? Kind of uncanny almost? Like, I know, like, I don't know if it was the teeth or not, but just something about it was unsettling. Then again, for an army based around skeletons, that's probably a good thing.
I'm always entertained by it. But tell us about these models.
Yeah, so we've got 2 new heroes coming for Grand Alliance Death and 2 new Battle
And this is the point where I'd probably have turned this off and done some painting and for you guys live, but I could not get that off. I could not get that set up for the life of me.
A new generic hero that they can add into
One of these days, because basically I would need to run it through OBS instead of Streamlabs, and I don't. It requires 3 screens, and I just don't have the space for that right now. One of these days, I'll figure out how to route my phone camera to Streamlabs. The Mortison Ossifector, interesting.
And their particular speciality amongst the Mortisans is that they build the biggest, largest, most destructive units. So this is in game terms, this is a buff unit for your biggest, toughest units. Make them a little bit more
So the
durable,
Gothazars and that
a little bit
screaming
better.
skull on
If you've gone for
steroids, whatever it's called.
Or you've gone for kind of monster heavy Ossiarch Force. This is probably the kind of hero.
Actually, what was that thing
put
called?
into
I
it
can
to
go up.
bolster it.
Nope,
Also,
I cannot go
just a
look
really
that up.
nice model, lots of kind of
Actually,
cool
no, I
effects
can
and
look it
stuff,
up.
so
I have
if
my
you're
phone right
painting
here.
project on a slightly smaller scale, that would lend itself pretty well to that. There is a new battle tome. It has a brand new cover, which is very cool, and that is Catacross, the Mortarch, who gets some tasty new rules in this battle tome as well. The current Bone Reapers battle tome launched with the last edition of Age of Sigmar, and this brings it into the brand new edition, along with lots of all the new rules that other battle tomes recently have got. So it kind of updates it across the board and makes them.
The Mortec Crawler, that's what it's called.
Makes sense to me. Tell me about this vampire.
Okay, we'll jump to the vampire in a second. So this is Ivya Volga, and
That's
she
a name.
is an outcast of her house. She is a wandering lone monster hunter, woodswoman. She wanders out into the wild places of the mortal realms. She finds monsters, she chops their heads off, and she drinks their blood.
But yeah, I am
So
very
the other
interested.
vampires are
I don't
stuff
think
like
they're going to be revealing Space Hulk tonight. The
but she's still a
timing
vampire,
just
she's
doesn't
still part of the
seem
family.
right in terms of how much time is left, because these generally go an
If
hour.
fights against them, she can still join
But
she is accompanied by
I'm
small
wondering
bats
if
she
the
uses to,
Terminators that are going to be in the Kill
swamp
Team
enemy
box, let's
units
be
and
real, that's what it
monsters
is at
to
this
help her
point.
kind of even the odds
If
of
that's
combat.
going to be
What
a
quite
new
fun about
Terminator
it
kit,
is
or if it's going to be an
you've got kind of
upgrade kit
crops
for the
of
existing
lots of
ones,
different,
which
almost kind of fairy
is going to be
tales
very
that
interesting,
pull
because I
together
am
the
actually thinking
character.
about buying
But
some
it's-
more
it's a
Deathwing
vampire,
kits,
right?
because
So it's a
I was
very
going to
dark
buy
Warhammer
2 of
very
the
kind of classic
regular
detail.
Deathwing kit, one to build as a Deathwing Night Squad, the other to build as a regular Deathwing squad, and then use all the spare parts from them with a Terminator Assault kit, so I can flesh out this 5-man unit that I have over here and have 2 5-man units or 1 10-man unit.
Yeah, but
So
both
that's
of them
fun.
give you a sort of direction, I guess. So she's
Because
obviously
depending on how
to
many
achieve
spare
the
Deathwing kits you have lying around, you can actually have
Soulblade
enough
once
shields
again,
and
she's
Deathwing
one of the
shoulder
last
pads with the
battle
molded
tomes of the
icon
last
for
edition, which meant they didn't
converting or kit bashing a regular Terminator Assault Squad to have all the Deathwing markings and stuff like that, plus the chest plates and stuff.
It also incorporates other units we've seen added in since the last battle tome was added, including things like the vampire unit we saw in the last edition, the last box set for Warcry. So it actually has quite a lot more to it than even the current Soulblight Gravelords book. So Soulblight Gravelords came out relatively recently. They were a huge hit, one of the most popular armies now in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this book brings them bang up to date with loads of cool stuff that your army can now do.
Amazing.
But
We
that's
have
not
more Age of
that's not
Sigmar?
it. You've got even more. We've got even more.
I feel like no one would have predicted that this was going to be an Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, is this going to be AOS or is it going to be
Something up
Norwood
in the
or
line, it's all
Underworld?
about
Worlds?
this.
Yeah, I can
let's
speak.
see what else we got.
Oh, Cities of Sigmar!
I don't remember taking the coin Malleus,
Wait, what?
but here we are, trudging through the mud to bring Sigmar's light to the realms.
What in the... Is this Cities of Sigmar or is this a new Underworld's warband? I can't quite tell. Okay, it is Age of Sigmar, so probably Cities. Yep, Cities of Sigmar. That gives it away. Black screen. There we go.
So, Cities of Sigmar, that is
Yep,
the
there it is.
new infantry that is on its way for...
So they're updating the old Free
basically
Guild
Sigmar's
Guard kit.
mortal followers. So,
Or the
just to set
Empire
your
Guard, or
expectations
whatever
a
they're
little
called,
bit,
whatever
we're
it used to
still
be
a good
called.
few months away
You have to
from
keep in
release
mind, I don't
of
understand
Adepticon.
Warhammer
We wanted to
Fantasy
kind of
as
keep you
much,
updated as to
because
what
I got into
everything
Warhammer
is.
right as
We've been following
Age of
the Cities
Sigmar
of
came
Sigmar
out.
project as
I
it
think it was
developed,
actually the
and now we've
weekend
got the first
that
kind of
Age of Sigmar came out that I actually got the
This
Dark
is,
Vengeance
some
box
warriors
back when I got into it.
mortal infantry units of Sigmar.
8 and
They
a half,
are
8 years ago
effectively-
almost?
you imagine
7 and a
that,
half?
These people have to face
God, I
flying
feel old.
sharks and huge uryks
Anyways.
and vampires and monsters and pretty much...
So they're the human equivalent of Crocs.
Interesting design.
yeah, well, not
I'm
really.
indifferent
If
to
you're
it though,
looking
because
for
again,
the
I'm a
absolute
Seraphim
underdog of
fanboy.
the realms, this is this unit. They are
Looks cool. People
given
are
a
going to
rusty
enjoy it
shield,
probably, and there's
not
probably going to be
much
haters
weaponry,
that are like, oh, Warhammer
just about
Fantasy was
fits,
better.
and then
You're
kind of
getting
printed
Old
out on
World.
maps
Calm
around
down.
great big
Even though we haven't heard
crusades.
anything on
They
that
were
in a
passed on the
while.
back.
I mean, we did get those
George
weapon
found the Cities
previews a
of
couple
Sigmar
of weeks
realms,
ago, but
so
like,
they are,
come on, give us the
lucky
rule book.
underdogs of the
Even
realm.
I'm excited for that, and I have no attachment to Warhammer Fantasy.
The opposite end of the spectrum of that sort of often wild and crazy and monstrous.
Although mainly it's because I do kind of want to try out that rank and file system. I have played a little bit of Rune Wars, but it really isn't the same kind of. It's I'll say I'm excited for Old World. I'm excited to see what it entails. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Lizardmen, because of course I'm going to play Lizardmen. Maybe I'll play Skaven. I don't know at this point. I'm going to play one of those two for sure.
And what this does, which is quite cool, it gives you a sense of some of the sub-factions that are covered within the new Battle Tome.
The different sigils of the various cities.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the centre there, you've got Sigmar sigil, the 12-pointed star, but round the edge, you've got some symbols of cities that might be familiar if you're up to date on your current Age of Sigmar lore.
Which I am not.
So give you a bit of a sense of the different corners of the mortal realms that the Battle Tome and the armies will cover.
And you said cities of Sigmar are still
okay, so Blades of Khorne and Hedonites of Slaanesh are on pre-order this weekend, I'm pretty sure. Then probably in
Blades of Khorne and Hedonites of Slaanesh
probably in April we're getting those two.
Days away from
because there's no way they release it in May to line, because the line is going to be running around in there, so that's what's probably going to be released in
Then
May.
we have Mystery Book 1.
So we got another mystery book in the summer.
It's going to be very cool and exciting.
But we got Seraphim, so I have a bit of time to build up some cash, because now
we also have Seraphim.
I have like all sorts of stuff on order. Good God. Or I wouldn't say on order, more just things I'm trying to buy. Because I mean, we've got Scarlet and Violet coming out for Pokemon in a couple of weeks. I plan on getting a Cerberus. Plan on getting the Lion. I've got to save up some money to get some stuff at TFCon. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to buy.
About the Cities of Sigmar, but whether it's Seraphon, Cities of Sigmar, or any of those other battle tomes that are on the way, it is a pretty exciting few months actually.
I mean, you've only told us up to autumn. Who knows what the winter?
Who knows what the winter could.
Well, what do we have? So we've covered a lot of Sigmar. We took a detour from the 41st Millennium. I feel like we should go back there for at least.
Okay, here comes Kill Team. Wait. Kill Team isn't Terminators versus Tyranids?
We've got to get out of here.
What is going on?
Not until we find our Iron King. Quick, search through the stasis chambers.
So squats versus beastmen. Interesting.
Get to the escape pods. The ancestors are watching.
Ooh, what was that? Okay, they're giving Votann jump packs now. Interesting. Kill Team Gallowfall. Now, here's my question. Where are they going to stick Beastmen in?
I'm a fan of Kill Team, and these are two amazing kill teams. And we're nearing the end of the story of Gallodark.
Yeah, so this is Gallowfall, which gives you a hint about what might be occurring in the narrative. This is the last installment in the current season of Kill Team, which is the Into the Dark season where we're inside spaceships. And the reason this is the end of the season of this is that the Gallodark, the space Hulk we've been fighting over for the past year, is crashing. It is crashing into a planet. And this last...
Seems an appropriate Warhammer 40,000 sort
absolutely,
of an
all the best bits of it blow up. That's kind of how it works. Welcome to Warhammer. And this...
Warhammer, when in doubt, just blow it up.
The last installment is basically the last 5 minutes of a really cool action film where your kill teams have to get to the escape pods and get out of Dodge before the spaceship crashes into a planet and is obliterated.
I gotta tell you, the Votann team has all the hallmarks of a great action.
So we have this. We still have the Gnarlwood reveals because they mentioned they were covering that.
What about yours? What's your favorite?
Is there enough time for the Terminators versus Tyranids thing? Exterminatus button, true.
To a space fight. So they know they're going to board a space.
Again, Kill Team is not my thing, but like,
they have access to the full.
I'm excited for Votann players who get some additional options. Like, kind of the biggest thing to come out of Kill Team for me is that sprue that came with the Phobos Kill Team that finally gives you a non-start collecting way to get a Helix Adept for your infiltrator squads. I have been begging for that for a while now, and, you know, finally have that. But that's, like, probably the best thing to come out of Kill Team for me. That and the Kasserkin. Like, I have been thinking about starting a guard army for years now. I just never bid on it. Although now I have an excuse to get a Bane Blade for Heresy because Dark Angels, all the Legions actually have access to it in the Legacies PDF.
I think it's one of the better upgrade kits because it adds onto a very recent kit, and the kit was already pretty good, right? The Legions of Votann kit was flexible.
At least we're in agreement there.
In the launch box for it, so it's not as if you're missing one of the components when you purchase it. But it really is a robust kit in terms of what it adds. Of course, we've got the space laser knuckle dusters, which I'm affectionate.
It's probably got a better name than that. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not a lore writer here. We get that. And do we have the rest of the pictures there as well? Yeah, there's that.
The jump pack, the jump pack Votann. That is going to be.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, if the rumors about 10th edition are to be believed, where they're releasing another Votann codex fairly early on and releasing a second wave of models, I guarantee you there's going to be a jump pack unit. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's 40k. You can't have a faction without some sort of unit that's just hurling itself across the battlefield.
So this is a really exciting kit. We haven't really.
Whether that be by jump pack or not, but most of the cases it is going to be jump packs.
We saw a few of them pop up in Blackstone Fortress, but they were definitely like the side thing rather than the main event.
I mean, these are Emperor worshipping beastmen, right?
I don't think so, though. There's a lot of chaos spikes on these guys. This is a brand new kit. It's very flexible, so much like lots of the other Kill Team kits we've seen, the bespoke Kill Team kits, you could build them in loads of different ways. There's different options for weapons and heads, and there's interchangeability between them. Each one is a specialist, so it's very definitely a combat-focused Kill Team. But
how does that work?
Stealthy ones, you've got some magic-y ones. Got some.
No, seriously, how does that work? I don't know Kill Team.
Grenades and gas grenades. You've got some with bionic bits, some that like charging and ramming.
I'm sorry, does he?
So if you're looking
does that one in the back right have a grenade for a hand?
And much like lots of the other recent Kill Teams, like the Recruit and the Eldar, the level of detail.
I could have sworn that one in the back right had a grenade for a hand.
The detail extends to the terrain as well.
I mean, it's Warhammer, so I shouldn't be shocked, but like, who thinks of this stuff?
Jump into to get away from the trouble that's facing you. Kind of an amazing set to finish off that sort of well-rounded collection.
You get a little medical bay, which is quite cool. There's some stasis pods.
Again, another form of coward pod. I get it. This is a sort of a theme that's running on here.
Coward pod.
I think what I really like about it is it's got a feel of like a really old school Warhammer set, because you've basically got dwarves fighting beastmen, right?
Yeah.
But they've put them in space in a spaceship, and they've all got like laser guns, chainsaws, and stuff.
And laser knuckle dusters.
So
you can pay like extra or narrative campaign points for extra gear.
And once again, this
cool. I'll pretend I know what that means. Not trying to be rude, just genuinely don't know what that means.
The climactic final installment to the current season of Kill Team. 2 very, very fun Kill Teams to expand it. Just a really fun box.
I'm excited too, not to like give another shout out to Adepticon, but right over there in the other room we've got literally what, like a 100+ player event of nothing but Into the Dark terrain and everything else happening tomorrow and the next day.
Somebody dropped something
around the end of the season of Into the Dark, but also it's still kind of alive and kicking, people playing in it all over the world.
Yeah, yeah. And Into the Dark as a way to play won't go away. That's like your inside Kill Team, so it gives a very different feel from playing Kill Team when you have ruins and things. It's a very claustrophobic, close quarters thing, and both of those Kill Teams actually, Leagues of Votann, very durable, lots of very dangerous short-range weaponry, and the Beastmen team, very good close combat. You'd imagine. I haven't seen the stats in huge detail, but Beastmen
pretty good,
notoriously hard to kill.
Let's not forget that in Kill Team, all these teams are considered to be elites in a sense, right? These are not your run-of-the-mill dregs. These are sort of the best going on. You know, especially difficult special operations, kind of the best of course. Bravo, well done, Eddie. Excellent joke. I love it. Anyway, what do we have next?
Bad jokes. How do they work?
Well, we're above the world and crashing into it too.
Oop, what do we got here? Okay, this is the Gnarlwood reveal. Okay, so this is the next season of Underworlds. Okay. Oh my god, another Stormcast warband. Who would have thunk it? Not a fan of Chaos, but these Siege models look pretty interesting. Or that one I say. Oh my god. Oh! I should not be surprised, but somehow I am. So Word Hollow is the next season. Those Zinch models did look pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm super excited. It's a bunch of Zinch models that looks like they really really took the full brunt of what happens when you really followed Tzeentch as far as...
What did I
Tell
say? The
us about
Tzeentch
this.
models look...
So
God,
this
I gotta
is
stop
a
looking at
brand
myself in the
new season of
replay.
Warhammer Underworlds. and
One day I'll
including,
figure this out.
A new Stormcast warband, which are a magic warband. And
Levitating rocks and all.
On the other side is a Tzeentchian warband, which has a disciple of one of the Gaunt Summoners of Tzeentch, the most powerful sorcerer, so somebody who's been tutored by one of Tzeentch's main followers, basically, and a gaggle of basically bits of wild magic that they've thrown together. So if you thought horrors were wild and unruly, these kind of take it to the next stage. So it's weird hollow. It is a magic-themed season for Warhammer Underworlds, and two really, really nice-looking warbands. This being
Now give us another Seraphim warband, you cowards! Give us the magic space lizards!
It comes with all the things you need to play. So you've got a board, you get all the dice.
And for anybody wondering, yes, I do have the Starblood Stalkers. I did get those as a Christmas gift.
Rivals decks.
The Rivals decks, so right out of the batch, they've got a sort of evergreen format decks as well that are baked into the box.
Yeah, so those decks work with any of your existing warbands from any season of Warhammer Underworlds you've ever had, and also work particularly well with the two warbands that come in this box. I think the stars of this box, though, I think are the miniatures as ever. Warhammer Underworlds has like a reputation, I suppose, for having some of the best, most iconic miniatures in Warhammer, and this is kind of no exception. So if we have a look at a bit more detail at the units, so we'll start off with Philim's Pandemonium. So you've got your sorcerer at the center there, and they have summoned effectively elements of Tzeentch, wild magic manifested into the form of leaping lesser demons. So it's all about basically your sorcerer.
Okay, this one on the left that has like 5 arms and 1 eye is genuinely hilarious.
Right? So this is,
I don't know why, it just is.
Warband, not only in terms of how it looks, but also how it plays.
It's a really well-named warband as well, and it's hard for me to believe that something this weird could be as adorable as the sea creatures we've seen in previous editions as well. But this is one of those bands where I saw it and immediately had to have it on the miniatures alone, much less the cool rules that we get in the newest edition.
Yeah, I really like the central character. I fill in the sorcerer. The Gaunt Summoners, I think, are really, really nice miniatures, and this has got all the kind of hallmarks of that. It's slightly differently presented. I think Tzeentch just gives you an opportunity as a painter to just do some really wild stuff. And I think in terms of left field.
Yay, stream lag.
Out there warbands and just miniatures generally that don't come much more wild than this.
Very accessible
Okay,
too. Makes a lot of interesting flowing.
We're still good.
Also a lot of room
They contrast up very nicely.
They do.
On the other side of the box, we have Domitan's Storm Coven. So this is a magic-themed Storm Host Stormcast unit. They are equipped in Thunder.
They're moving fairly quickly. We may have time for this Space Hulk thing at the end, or whatever it is.
Just really, really nice Stormcast models. So each one is a great character model in their own right.
Again,
really
this
nice
is the
stuff
point
on
where
faces,
I
really
thought
nice
I was just going to be like, just show us the lion already, just show us the lion already, but nope. We got that right off the bat.
Taking advantage of that theme that we've seen in Sigma, really fridge that.
Yeah, they are moving quick. There is one more thing. There's absolutely one more thing. No shot there isn't.
It's fascinating to see, and also, can't wait to see in a game where someone throws a colonnade at someone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about it before. It comes with lots of different decks you can use. So you've got the Rivals decks for each of the warbands, but you've got 2 other Rivals decks that you can use with each of the warbands or with any other warband in Warhammer Underworld. So the box set itself is a really flexible gaming box that you can play on its own. You can incorporate it into other warbands you've got, into other seasons, or you can use it as the core of a brand new hobby, basically.
It's good to see that more people are also taking advantage of and recognizing that new element of Underworlds that Rivals has really brought to the fore. That it is, no matter how you purchase it, one of those things that has infinite flexibility, whether it's just for a regular game on occasion with your local
Stream
game,
died, what?
building into that scene to go to things like the World Championships and everything in between.
So Rivals, for those of you that don't know, Rivals for Underworlds is effectively pre-made decks. You can choose from either the deck that comes with your warband or from a selection of other.
The stream died apparently.
Decks, and it makes it very accessible because it means that you don't need to have bought loads and loads of different expansions for Warhammer Underworlds to kind of pick the best card from each. You just go, I just need that deck. It might come in one box alongside your warband, or you could just pick up a box like this, which comes with lots of different options, and all of your warbands.
Let me go investigate.
A variety of different decks to play. So it's a
Fast-paced
really
Warhammer at the edge of your fingertips anytime.
Really nice box.
Or collect deep if you want to go for that Grand Clash and sort of World Championships grade.
Cool.
Okay, so we're back there. I just needed to grab a
we're
page.
Yeah, are we done?
I think we're finished.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad everyone got up at 3 a.m. UK time to listen to this amazing preview. We got to see the lion.
That was pretty cool.
We got to see Underworlds. We got to see...
They're not showing the models. There's one more thing remaining, that's for sure.
I'm pretty tired here. We did a live preview at Adepticon, an amazing show.
Yeah, the stream is still running. What the hell?
There's the one thing.
Oh, here we go.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, should we roll the video?
No.
Oh. Don't be that guy. Come on, it's...
Werner, fine. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. What do we got? What do we got? Is that Gallman's armor? Yep.
Victory. That is what the preachers cry.
And they
for
would
the
not be
spires of
doing
their
this for
temples.
Space Hulk. 10th edition!
Commanders
Here we
and
come!
Soldiers in their service. The Indomitus Crusade meets with triumph after triumph. Day by day we tear Imperium Nihilus from the Despoiler's grip. And though we are beset on all sides, with each battle we drive back the mutant, the heretic, the alien.
There we go with the mids. There's a...
As I speak these words, our forces engage the remnants of Leviathan.
Oh, new flamer unit. There's your salamander,
Reclaiming
Scorp.
lost worlds, atoning for old shames. A crusade to cleanse the stars. Taking the fight
God.
to the enemy.
That's brutal. Is that a combi flamer? Hold up. Yep, that's a combi flamer. Redemptor's just got an upgrade.
We routed the
That's
Tyranids at
brutal.
Baal. We broke their high fleet. Soon, their foulness will be but a memory.
Uh-oh. Oh, God.
Is what the preachers say.
What are those things? Exterminatus?
Belief will not save us. Lies will not protect us.
Is that an
It is our
Exterminatus
will
device?
that will damn us.
Oh, there we go! Teleport Homer! Bang! Oh. Seeing the bugs get slaughtered. Oop, new Terminator Librarian, I like it.
In the spies and the slums.
Oh. That was brutal. What? They went all out for this. Good lord.
Victory as the galaxy burns. Victory as the Imperium rots around us. Victory as humanity rages against the dying of the light. Victory.
10th edition.
A new edition of Warhammer.
There it is!
Who knew? Who knew?
Nobody called that, actually.
Nobody had any idea.
So good. I gotta tell you.
That
Growing up my whole life as a fan.
that was
Something about
that trailer.
41st Millennium that when you watched
Like the 9th edition 40K trailer was hit or miss for me. Age of Sigmar trailer didn't care for it. Heresy trailer was really freaking hype. That was incredible.
Oh yeah, that was the grimdark 41st Millennium to a T.
When did 9 come out? 2020, 3 years ago almost.
Still excited at how not happy it was, actually.
But I think it just gives you like a sense of the absolute horrificness of not just like facing Tyranids, which is pretty horrific on the scale of
Exactly.
things. Generally, Warhammer 40,000 is an absolutely awful place to be alive. Even
Yep.
as a Space Marine, their like survivability against certain races is measured in
It is awful.
minutes and hours.
It is terrible, but it is a
Seconds,
place to have a hobby.
in most
And
cases,
why don't we let the
probably.
people who actually wrote the game tell us a little bit more about
Absolutely.
it. And we'll tell you a lot, but first.
Okay, now we've got more. So we're going past an hour.
Warhammer
Interesting.
40,000 is the world's most popular tabletop miniatures game.
That was just brutal. Just stomping on his head.
Players command armies of genetically
Yeah,
enhanced
we know
super
this.
soldiers, brutal monsters, powerful aliens, and destructive war machines.
That Dreadnought,
They have
though,
spectacular
has me
battles
interested.
in the 41st millennium.
So is the old, like, cash referral pattern Dreadnought getting replaced?
We've been listening to the community, and that's a large part of why we've decided to focus the game as much as possible.
How can we keep the tactical depth and richness that players love, but examine every rule in the game? Does this need to be here, or is there another way?
Yeah,
that
the
we can achieve
last
the
missile
same result?
configuration of the
To secure
Dreadnought
victory,
was
you
the
must
most
understand
popular
your
one on the
strengths and
old
the strengths
on the
of
old
your
Castor
enemy.
Ferrum
We've
chassis.
fundamentally changed the datasheets from the ground up.
Making them much more accessible and really focusing the rules onto the datasheet themselves.
Okay.
What the team's been able to do with this is really look at every unit in the game, make sure it has a really clear battlefield role and a thing for it to do, and then write the right rules for it.
Your datasheet rules all fit on a single card, and your army rules will fit on a single page.
One of the
What?
things we wanted to ensure was that everyone got to play 40k as soon as
Okay,
possible
they're
after the
doing
edition
data
was
cards. I
released. To
like
make that
it.
happen, all of the rules for everyone's armies via the datasheets and their army rules will be available for free.
From the darkness between the stars,
What?
a twisted mockery of evolution spawns
Did I just hear that right?
horrors.
It's a galaxy at war. This is the
All
onset
the
of what the
rules
Imperium
for
will regard
free.
as the fourth tyrannic war. This is the largest Tyranid swarm
They're actually
ever
doing it. Oh my
recognized in the
God.
galaxy, emerging where no one's expected it. The Segmentum Pacificus.
To be a warrior of the Emperor in such times is to face an array of nightmares.
What we've managed to achieve with this edition is a game that players of Warhammer 40,000 will love for its tactical depth and choices, but is streamlined and plays much quicker.
The end result is faster, while still keeping all the flavour that you've come to love in Warhammer 40,000.
For players who've been with Warhammer 40,000 for the last 35 years, they've never seen anything like this before. We've never shown conflict at this scale.
Immersive and thrilling new gameplay. Discover a major new narrative in the Fourth Tyrannic War. The new edition of Warhammer 40,000 deploys this summer.
Okay.
So that's the Warhammer 40,000 studio had to say about some of the changes. It sounds very exciting.
It's very exciting. We'll talk about some of them in depth, in fact, in this very live stream. Eddie.
Oh.
But, it's fascinating to me because there's a whole bunch to unpack about the new edition, not least of which is what's going on with the lore of the 41st Millennium, as well as what's happening with the rules. What does a streamlined experience actually mean? Is it still the 40k we've come to know and love, as well as what do free rules mean? Because there's a lot more to that than what you might expect.
There's lots of lines there thrown away which have quite big implications.
Yeah, we'll take some time to get to you, but I feel like the one thing we're missing is, well, the reason
It's
we've all
some
gotten into
miniatures.
the hobby in the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
place. Why don't we take a look at some miniatures?
Okay, we got some new models. Okay, let's see what's going on. The Terminators are what I'm most concerned about. I think everybody's concerned about. Okay. Oh, that was it? What? One Terminator. One Terminator.
So, Terminators are back. These are the first company of the Space Marines. Each one of those chapters has Terminators. They are the best of the Space
Okay,
Marines.
more of them.
And the new miniatures are absolutely what Terminators always were in your mind. These are indomitable, walking powerhouses of destruction, juggernauts of hate.
They do look a little bigger.
The enemies of mankind.
And really brought
They also look
the development of the miniatures.
sort of monopose. They look like pre-built poses, essentially, like how a lot of the Primaris kits are. Honestly, not even mad.
Some of the videos
I love it.
I saw a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I thought we were going to see new Terminator miniatures," and well, you were going to see new Terminator miniatures, and they are stunning. They do all
redesigning the assault cannon, though.
They do all of.
I like it. It looks a little more sleek, but still maintains like the core design aesthetics of the assault cannon.
They stand taller than a Primaris Marine. One of the things that's worth saying about these Terminators is that these aren't necessarily Primaris Terminators. They're not necessarily Firstborn Terminators. Any Space Marine can earn the right to wear a suit of Terminator armor if they prove themselves to get promoted to the first company, if they prove themselves to be worthy of the mantle of wearing Terminator armor. So these could be worn by veterans of the Firstborn veterans of the previous Tyrannic Wars. They could also be worn by Primaris veterans of the Indomitus Crusade or any other type of Space Marine veteran.
And this is deeply true in the lore for them.
I like that.
This is canonical. This is the way that they are intended. And we're not being cheeky when we say that we've actually handled both the long-running demand for new Firstborn miniatures and for Primaris Terminators. Because they are, when all is said and done, Terminators. And there could be anyone inside those.
The Terminator suits themselves are relics, right? So these are thousands of years old, and even Belisarius Cawl, after 10,000 years of fiddling around with all the tech he had, couldn't improve on the Terminator suit. So they still have their Crux Terminatus with those shards of the Emperor's own armor. You can actually look at the Terminator in a bit more detail, and you can see that like every single element of it, all like the pipes and the cabling and the Storm Bolter and the helmet, they are recognizably the Terminators that you know and love.
Again, as a Dark Angels player, though, I have to ask, what does this mean for Deathwing?
So much cooler. When you see these guys on the battlefield, they really have a presence. And obviously the Terminators come with all sorts of cool kit. Power Fist and Storm Bolter are standard. The unit also obviously comes with an assault cannon. We saw one of those earlier as well. So
Heavy Flamer, Cyclone Launcher, the whole 9 yards.
Back in Warhammer 40,000.
I can't wait to see more of them, but I feel like we need to see the other side.
Now I'm curious.
As well, but first, I think it's good to highlight the difference in scale between the Terminators of old and the Terminators of today. And you can kind of see in this how their bulk and their size has not rendered the old Terminators to be tiny necessarily.
Okay, so old Terminators are still valid, and it looks like the parts might be cross-compatible.
Kind of perfectly land in that.
Oh my god, old Terminators are shorter than Primaris.
Really
what?
Facing off against something like the more recent Chaos Terminators, some of the kind of the bigger character models.
Back.
So your something like a Primarch, maybe like Reboot Gulliman or the Lion or something like that, leading a squad of these guys. And obviously every chapter, all the main chapters we know about, have their own particular special brand of Terminators. So the Death Watch, the Archangels, the First Company veterans of.
Did he just call the Deathwing the Death Watch?
The Tyranids.
They do have quite a beef.
They've got some serious beef.
He just called the Deathwing the Death Watch.
Terminators are cool, and these models allow you to be as cool as the Terminators always should have been.
I couldn't agree more. And speaking of
but
the
again,
that they have for Tyranids, we've shown you.
What does this mean for modeling for Deathwing? What's going to happen to the old Deathwing kit? And the bugs. All the jokes about them not evolving any new forms are over. Ooh, new Termagant models. Okay, didn't see that one coming, but probably very welcome. Oh my god, I don't care about AirPods.
So,
new Termagants.
So Termagants are the most numerous forces of the Hive Mind. They spawn them out in their millions and their billions across the planets they're seeking to consume. And the new Termagants are...
after Moth, after Earth. Thank you for the follow. Upgrade Sprue?
A little known fact is that...
honestly, I wouldn't even be mad about that.
I can't wait to paint millions more of them in a new wave.
So here we are.
Because then I could repurpose those parts for like heresy nonsense, for like bases for knights or something like that. Also, 20 followers achieved. Let's go.
If you're a Tyranid fan, there are so many new plastic kits. It's the most significant update to the Tyranid army.
Okay, Tyranids are getting a whole bunch of new models. I like to see that.
As well, because there's an enormous amount of work that's been done to make Tyranid range feel both nostalgic but also very fresh.
Right. And again, all the jokes about them not evolving any new forms, out the window!
A few times carefully, but I think one of the things that's most exciting is that there is, there's a natural alien nature to the Tyranids, right? They're the most alien of
like
races
unknowable,
to the galaxy,
right? So
almost unknowable. Yeah. And there's some definite sort of evolution of the range into exploring that sort of very foreign, very alien, very truly unknowable element of the Tyranid.
Alrighty, let's end that goal.
Reactions folk can share even more of the new plastic range of Tyranids in the future.
Yeah, as you say, Mike, if you want a sense of like which new miniatures might be on the way for Tyranids, check out the cinematic. There are some returning favourites, it's fair to say. Some units that maybe haven't had the time.
I think there's some new biovores in there, that's for sure.
Hey, you don't have to scream it to me.
Yeah, and there are some things that we've never seen before. So one of the hallmarks of the Tyranids, I suppose, is their continuous adaptation and evolution in the face of challenges.
Yeah, those new ones look way better.
Taken that on board with this latest Tyrannic invasion.
And we can see here in the scaling again that while the
that did not work.
Very tried and true, the trusty rusty
there we go.
plastic kit. It hasn't been outscaled in the development of it. It's still the same termagant in terms of how it fits into the range as it used to be. Just with that really fresh glow up, with that really.
I think it's the level of detail that really changes. So like.
Yeah, and also definitely everything's been expanded. They've had a bit more room to work with. Evolution equals more arms. True.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, they already have those arms, but it just was never as pronounced.
It's so detailed, like the level of like crispness on that model, and you can see now that like contrast on that miniature or like a.
Okay, there we go. The goal has been updated. 40 followers. Let's see if we can get there by the end of the year.
You could certainly paint those very quickly if you wanted to.
Absolutely. And besides just the miniatures, there's a whole lot going on in the 41st millennium, isn't there, with the arrival of this new Tyranid range? What does that bode for us in terms of when we talk about the actual development of the universe itself?
Yeah, so the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is the new Tyrannic War. It's the fourth Tyrannic War against the Tyranids. So what we saw at the end of the Arcs of Omen with the Return of the Lion was the end of that story. So it has a really solid, conclusive narrative that kind of has a big culmination, a big showdown between the forces of the Angels of Death and the forces of Chaos. And then what we've done with the new edition is we've picked up the lens of what's going on in the galaxy, we've moved it to another part. In this instant, it's the western rim of the galaxy. So if you're
Western rim.
If you're familiar with your,
typically come from.
They do. They come from the east usually. They come from the east.
That's
so
not good.
If you're familiar with your Warhammer 40,000 lore, you'll know that generally speaking, the Tyranid invasions have all come from the galactic east, and they've kind of picked off Macragge and the.
Interesting.
It was always told as the beginning of this tendrils with the Hive Fleet in theory behind it.
Yes. So what we've got now with the fourth Tyrannic War is the forces of Leviathan. The Imperium has been fighting them for quite a long time, and they thought they kind of got their measure, right? They fought them at Baal.
Broke their fleets at Baal.
Yeah, they thought they might have seen the peak of Leviathan halted, and that's absolutely not true. What we're seeing now is from the other side of the galaxy, this enormous, great tendril, this sweeping mass of Tyranids, the largest invasion we've seen yet, swooping in from the other side.
And it's still part of Leviathan.
Yeah, so Leviathan is kind of crushing both sides of the galaxy. The
Good
galaxy
Lord.
is literally in the jaws of Hive Fleet Leviathan.
This, to
and
me,
it's giving like a sense of the absolute scale and cosmic horror of the Tyranids, which everybody knew was huge, but this is like, we thought it was just coming from one direction, and actually the galaxy is completely surrounded. There are Tyranids coming from all sides.
It's a huge and stunning change for me in terms of reflecting sort of the scope, scale, alien nature, and sort of almost the terminal threat that Tyranid represent. It's not an unknowable, who knows how much more it is. They're so large that the entire galaxy is now surrounded.
Absolutely, yeah. So just another apocalypse to add to the growing list for the Imperium.
Well, should we talk a little bit about the rules?
Let's talk rules. Yeah.
Okay, rules. This is the big
it's
thing.
One of those things we're not sure. Anyone would wonder how much will we talk about the reveal right up in cinematic, but we'll do that. We'll talk a little bit about what does new 40K bring from an actual playing of the game perspective. Right. First one is we mentioned that the game has been streamlined, it's been simplified. The game is not simple. Let's remember this is still Warhammer 40,000. It's still the game that we all sort of know and love, and it has all of the hallmarks of Warhammer 40,000 that our community has grown up around, enjoying recreating battles in the battlefield. But from a simplification perspective, there's been an enormous amount of work done to make the game less dense, to make redundancy and minor rules spread across numerous publications less.
Okay, yeah, because like
to streamline everything into sort of, we'll talk about it a little bit as we go through.
One thing that that's been talked about a lot. Bring back some universal special rules, stuff like Feel No Pain and Feel No Pain. Yeah, Feel No Pain's like the big one that everybody cites because like that. There's so many different versions of that. Just call it Feel No Pain and end it off there. AKA, I remember my strategy. That too. I was actually talking about this with the guy I was playing against 40k with John's buddy the other day. Kind of how I would fix stratagems personally is leave all of them there. But you only get a certain number of stratagem slots, so you have to pick and choose which ones are best for your army. You'd still have access to all the core ones, but then you'd have to, like, Dark Angels. If you don't have any plasma, just don't take Weapons of the Dark Age. Take all your Deathwing or Ravenwing support ones. Like, I feel like that would be the ideal solution to keep the broad scope of stratagems while still allowing you to have the memory to, actually remember them. Anyways.
With a really tight, streamlined set of rules, but still the same depth that you have today within your army, different stratagems, different abilities, and then a number of different stratagems, rules, and other things have been taken and put back onto the data sheet to really bring the units to the forefront of the game as an experience again. So as opposed to putting down your units and then playing a lot of the game, as it were, from the front of the book, there's a greater emphasis for many of those rules moving into the data sheets and moving into the overall game experience. We also have
I'll have to rewatch that later, but yeah, moving things to...
the morale phase has been moved into the command phase and rejiggered entirely. Something called Battle Shock, which we may talk about a little bit more here.
Bringing more Age of Sigmar mechanics over, sure.
To the actual data sheets of the rules and abilities.
So it's not a psychic phase anymore.
There isn't an actual psychic phase anymore in the game.
Instead,
psychic abilities are baked into the units themselves. They still work in some ways evocative.
So it's kind of like what they're doing with Heresy.
But it's not an entire phase that applies in very different ways to different armies.
So, for example, a Librarian might have Smite, which would be a ranged shooting attack with a psychic ability.
Yes, with reflections of things like the hazardous nature of using it at a very high level, with the potential to inflict mortal wounds and other things, but still focused as basically a shooting attack. Whereas some of the psychic powers that might buff a unit
Wait a minute. What's up with that Lehman Rust down there? Is that normal?
An entire phase oriented.
That looks a little bulkier than normal, or maybe it's just the way that's painted. I can't tell.
Someone like a Primaris Psyker within the Astral Meltarum might not be as reliable getting off their abilities as Magnus the Red, who's probably not going to fail them.
So Magnus the Red has a ranged psychic attack, but it's like a really good ranged psychic attack.
Absolutely, and it's
as well as a range of other
psychic
abilities
as well, as opposed to just a generic psychic ability that every other psyker has.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about morale and battle shock there. I think obviously we'll dive into all of these rules in a lot more detail on the Warhammer community site over the coming.
Okay, here we go. This is big.
But I think one of the things that I really like about the new edition, the changes, is that you don't lose models in morale anymore. You don't have.
No,
you don't fail a morale tech and actually just take units off. It just changes the way that unit interacts with the game.
It does.
I like that. I like that. Adds a bit of complexity in terms of depth, but doesn't add too much.
Interact as well with grabbing objectives and other things as they normally would. Additionally,
I like that.
More relevance throughout the game. Whereas today you might, kill off most of the models in the unit. They barely pass the morale test. A couple models survive and they go hide in a corner in an objective all game, and they're basically fine from then on out, even though most of the unit's been devastated. Battle Shock will have less of an impact on models disappearing from the board and more of an impact on testing their metals.
How reliable is that unit now in the battlefield, basically?
And once a unit has been damaged to a certain degree, it may become less reliable on a regular basis each turn, depending upon how they hold themselves together in the face of the ongoing attrition of battlefield.
My troops don't disappear, they just get worse. Yeah.
There's definitely fewer stratagems to remember. There's many more stratagems that are core stratagems that you'll commonly see in gameplay. Whereas whenever you play a faction, you basically always have 6 stratagems available.
Yeah.
And if you decide to play a different variation of that faction, you'll take those 6 stratagems away and replace them with 6 new ones that are for that variation, i.e.
I unintentionally called the 6 stratagem thing. You have all your core stratagems, and then you get 6 ones for your faction.
A little bit bigger than it is now. And then you have a much smaller list of ones.
I actually kind of called that.
Focused on really impactful stratagems you want to use on a regular basis.
How did I call that?
Fewer command points in the game by a significant margin.
What?
So there's much more of a focus on using the right stratagem at the right time, rather than dumping all of your command points on turn 1 into a series of combos. At
least revert the change about warlords, traits, and relics costing command points. That was stupid.
Also, let's be very clear. We've re-indexed the game. All of the index rules are free, and are free on day 1, as are all of the core rules to play the game.
So that means on the first day of the new edition, if I've got an Orc army, which I do, I can get my core rules, I can get all my data sheets for my Orcs, and I can play a game with that army on the first day.
And all your army rules as well. Now, there's nothing in particular that's hidden. All of them are free and available on day 1 to play with, and the points are going digital and free as well on day 1.
points are going digital.
So there's.
But how
also
long
the
does it
ability to
last?
purchase indexes, because if you want to have them, you can have actual physical datasheet cards.
So
No
those are a
longer-
little bit like the War Scroll cards in
Yep,
Warhammer
little
Age
bit
of
like
Sigmar.
Age of
So
Sigmar, War
all
Scroll
of the
cards.
rules are kind of compacted onto a single card.
Yep, and you no longer necessarily need to bring all of them with you if your army only uses 10 data sheets instead of the
I like that.
90 you have in Space Marine. Or
You have the
Space
rules
Marine.
available
You
online,
need to
but
bring
you
them
have
with
physical
you, so plug
copies
in the
if
full
you
book, because
want.
again,
That was
you just
my
have that
big
one open
gripe.
page or a couple of data cards of your actual army rules and stratagems, and then your individual data
So
sheets.
that was
from
that was a common thing.
Because,
wasn't
like,
it?
I still like to have the
Being told
physical
by the
things.
community was like,
Oh, here we go.
They like the Warhammer 40,000 as a game, but there's a lot of rules to carry around, right? There's
Yes.
rules bloat in terms of the things you have to remember.
So
as well as
movement,
the amount of books
toughness.
you take with you when you play a game. And
Oh!
You've got less things to remember, less things to know about.
Oh,
your
they
opponent.
took the Age of
You've got
Sigmar thing where the weapons have the to-hit thing, not the model.
And army building itself, as we just saw back there, I don't know if we'll go back to that one image we had just before this one. Army building itself has simplified.
And then they have faction abilities listed on there that apply to that unit. That'll make it nice to figure out things, because I've had to flip through my Marine Codex several times to figure out, oh, does this rule apply to Dreadnoughts or something like that? So that's nice.
You take a character, your warlord, take up to 3 of any data sheet, or up to 6 of any basically troop or dedicated transport data
What?
sheet. And that's it. And so you need to have a warlord, and then you take up to 3 of most units. Additionally, there's been a great deal of work in putting things like what used to be individual unit stratagems and other abilities into the datasheet itself.
Good,
There's
that's
a
good.
variety of rules that are tailored to work with this type of army building. A good example being that a Space Marine captain might have a really powerful ability, but only one model per turn can use that ability, and so taking a second or third one isn't necessarily a value add. And there's many different units that, instead of there being a stratagem where after your unit shoots and targets a unit, now your other units get a benefit against it, there might be a key unit that provides that buffer benefit to your army. And so working in a combined arms way and leveraging different data sheets into your army in an innovative way is oftentimes, by design, much more impactful and useful and interesting than simply taking 3 of one thing and 3 of the other. So army building has been simplified, but the depth and interest in actually building a diverse force.
We'll see how this goes.
For how the data sheets have been built and how the army rules have been designed.
So every unit basically has got their thing. Like they've got the thing
Yes.
they bring to your army. So
Somebody in the chat on the stream, Warhammer Age of the Lion.
Do a particular, niche
I mean,
for
yeah,
that
that is what's
you-
going to be.
A lot of the time, the unit and the data sheet
My
will
boy.
allow you to do that. So that's why you take that.
Not really, but
Much greater focus on
you
your
get what I
army
mean.
doing the work of being an army as opposed to how can I take the most optimal units and then use my stratagems at the sort of front of my book to do all of the work.
Yeah, so I think we had an example data sheet that
We
might
do
be
have an
worth
example of a
talking
new
through
data
some of the
sheet.
things because it looks quite a lot different from the data sheets we
Data
have at
sheets
the moment.
are heavily different, and with the decision to index.
Okay,
them,
doesn't look like they're going back to the Heresy style AP.
you
Looks like they're
different
sticking
things,
with the
which is quite cool.
with the
they have an
Age of
ability that
Sigmar
focuses
style,
on how the
or
unit
second
behaves.
edition
It's very
40k, whatever you want to call it.
I guess one of the things before we get too into it is that the data sheet does look quite different, but actually the effect in terms of what it does in the game is not
Age of Lion.
from the way that Warhammer 40,000 works today. So
No, it's going to seem very familiar. It's not a move to something like Age of Sigmar where every unit hits or wounds on a fixed number or something like that. Instead, it's still very similar to what you'll remember or recognize from Warhammer 40,000 today. But the ranged weapons and melee weapons and things like that have been moved into their own profile. You'll notice that attacks and ballistic skill and weapon skill and strength.
yeah, they still
those-
exist. They're just attached to the weapon
They're moved
rather
into the
than
weapon.
about the fighter.
That allows
Okay.
us to do a wide variety of things with the way that the units are designed, such as something like chainswords or a Space Marine captain's power fist versus a Space Marine sergeant's power fist. Those things can all be somewhat different, and they can reflect the way the individual models work rather than being hard tied to the individual model's attacks or strength characteristics.
So we've
so on and so
got a
forth.
few questions in the chat about OC. Do you want to
OC.
talk a bit about that?
Yeah, what is that?
Objective control. So OC effectively establishes the value that each model in a unit has. If it
I
is
like
ranked
that.
in objective.
Incorporating it into
So
the main
you're
line, because like the
and
rules with
things like
knights in
objective
objective
spirits or
controlling was a
what you
bit
want.
weird.
Instead, it's
I
reflected
like
in
that
each
change.
unit
That's good.
and they have a different objective control characteristic. So each termagant is worth effectively 2 points if it's within range of an objective. Whereas
Oh, each
something that's
model!
bigger or more robust
Ooh.
but isn't really focused on grabbing objectives may only have an OC value.
And that's going to add a bit of granularity, and you know, instead of just, do you have an objective secured unit?
Control.
Yep.
I like that.
There's lots of the OC could be quite high, and they could, one grot doesn't beat one knight sort of thing.
It's definitely an improvement in the way we
Wait a
design
minute.
models for function. because
Twin
again,
linked.
When you look at things like what does optimal mean, is some of the
Are they
folks
bringing
who play
that
against
back?
levels focus on.
Wait,
so you go,
assault
this unit
and
may not
pistol?
necessarily
What?
match up with another unit, but it's much better at grabbing objectives which still remain a very
But
key
I imagine
part of how the game
Terminators
is
are going to
played.
be relatively cheap, right? So that's probably one of the cheapest.
I don't think they're going to cost the same as a Terminator.
Yeah, but that's going to be one of the most efficient ways to fill the board with objective control.
Absolutely, which is exactly what Termagants tend to do. And we've done some things to make the units actually reflected in their datasheet abilities in a very interesting way that reflects how their actual lore works. There's a whole bunch of work done to look at their lore, their IP, and make sure that the abilities actually reflected that. In the case of the scuttling Termagants that are very sneaky, can tend to be difficult to pin down. When you get within 9 inches of a unit, the unit gets to move in reaction.
So that's very reactive compared to the current edition.
And there's a ton of addition of reactive abilities, and reactive stratagems, and reactive datasheet abilities into the game, so that you're playing a lot more of an interesting game with your opponent during their turn. So there's less phases, and there is a greater investment in abilities and stratagems, things that work during your opponent's turns, so that the game itself is a much more dynamic experience when you play.
We've got a couple of people noticing slight differences in the stats, so I think one of the things worth saying is that because this is a re-indexing of the game, we've also had the opportunity to look at the things like durability and strength and how common AP is across the entire game.
There are two major changes that are worth focusing on. That
Good. The amount of AP that was floating around was a bit ridiculous.
Doesn't mean that it's down to a degree that might remind someone of editions many moons ago.
You still don't want to stand out in the open in front of a
You're probably
devastator
going to get
squad.
shot in the open if you do stand in the open. But the game is going to be a little bit less lethal than it is today.
Okay,
Colors
good.
A little bit differently. We're going to talk about
AP
all
is
of
a
this
little
stuff
bit
over
rarer.
time. AP is a little bit lower on average. And then there's also a stratification of strength and toughness when it comes to larger monsters and vehicles. Today is very much the case where you tend to see very few things that are different from, like, for instance, toughness 7.
Yeah, you cap out at about 8, don't you? It's very rare to have anything that's higher than 8.
So if your army has a large amount of access to strength 8 weaponry, strength 7 weaponry, it really is able to wound almost anything in the game pretty reliably, and that's no longer going to be the case. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, Eddie, but there definitely is a much, much higher level of toughness.
Well, there's vehicles that have toughness higher than 10.
Well, there's vehicles that have toughness higher than 11.
Oh, Lord.
And what
how is that going to work? Good God.
Of the game, so that having dedicated role units to deal with different threats is much more of a real component, as opposed to
good. Getting a good mix of anti-infantry, infantry, anti-infantry tank, anti-infantry tanks, and no wait, anti-infantry, infantry, anti-infantry tanks, anti-tank tanks, and anti-tank infantry.
I'm just going to invest heavily in plasma, and that's going to solve the game for me because I've got all the 7 and 8 strength I need.
Yep, because while toughness went up on many units, in many cases strength did not go up on many weapons. So a plasma gun has not changed materially in its strength. Its AP might have even changed downward. Whereas the units.
No, I want my plasma.
Supercharged plasma gun. I may only be moving on a 5 button.
Oh, it'll be big.
Substantial changes involved there, and of course the data sheets you're going to see many more of them in the time to come. Eddie, I know we won't talk too much about it so that you can talk all about it.
Yeah, so we will cover loads and loads of the rules over on the community site in the coming weeks and months. A couple of other things are worth talking about. Boarding actions and boarding controls from the latest Arcs of Omen books. They are compatible with the new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Okay, that's good.
If you've been collecting yourself little 500-point combat patrols of infantry to go diving into Space Hulks, they will absolutely still be able to do that in the new edition.
Yep.
So you can take all those recently constructed armies with you as we go. That'll be really
all of the boarding patrol rules that are in the Arcs of Omen books are fully compatible. They were designed to be that way, so that if you've been investing in those books and the amazing story they've told and the rules themselves, none of those are invalidated by the release of the new edition.
Good. That is a good move on their part.
Short-term use, they'll be usable well into.
Yeah, which is really cool.
So they're good for another 3 years at most,
Interesting
minimum.
way to play Warhammer 40,000. So Combat Patrol is a new thing in Warhammer 40,000, a brand new way to play the game. And the way that this works is different from the way Combat Patrol works today. The way it works is that you pitch Combat Patrols against each other. So the way you choose your army is you pick up any of the Combat Patrol boxes that we make, and that is your force. You can build it however you want out of that box, and it is balanced and pitched against other Combat Patrols in a similar way that you might play something like Kill Team, where you have a preset list of units. The rules for Combat Patrol are a little bit different from Warhammer 40,000, so maybe slightly simpler in places. There might be slightly less access to some of the choice, but fundamentally...
Gonna be good for beginners, but I'm not sure how viable it is beyond that.
It's really cool for a couple of reasons. One of them is that if you want to start a new army, it gives you a very, very accessible way to try them out, basically. So you don't need to put yourself together 2,000 points worth of models before you can start
Although,
and have a satisfying game.
I will admit, there's one thing I'm annoyed with. I was hoping these would go away so it finally forced GW to release a suppressor kit and not just tie it to the Start Collecting box. Looks like I'm not getting that, but not the biggest worry in the world for me. Just give me my plasma, I'll be happy. And maybe some Volkite while you're at it.
Again, without needing to necessarily collect full forces with Combat Patrol.
This is going to be good for getting new players into the game. The rules are going to be free. The core rules are going to be free, so admittedly, the $160 price tag is going to scare some people off. We're not going to be able to get around that. But having to buy a codex unless you want to, not going to be having to buy a rulebook unless you want to, like I do. That is going to be huge for getting new players into the game because all they need to do is get some models, get some glue, get some paint, and you're good to go.
Maybe a little bit more robust or more broad sweeping for the full-size game. It's not going to be.
Alternatively, if you're an experienced player like myself, you could pick up some of these, paint them yourself, keep them around as starter armies. Like that's what I've done with the stuff from Dark Vengeance and Dark Imperium. I keep those around as starter armies. And since all the rules are going to be free, I'll actually be able to use those for teaching games. I also keep a squad of Fire Warriors around because my parents, basically a long time ago for Christmas, my parents couldn't find a tactical squad to get me for Christmas, so they got me the old 7th edition Kill Team box, which had a Tau squad in it. Keep in mind, I hate Tau. Yeah, okay, After Moth, After Earth, thank you. Screw Tau. Tau can go burn.
So all Forge World rules will be taken care of. They'll be free, of course, just like all the index rules are.
Forge World rules will be free. Awesome.
Mentioning we have a new app.
No, I am not going to send you that, Scorp. I'm going to keep that around for, like, for teaching purposes.
Army Builder, all of the rules available in it again, all of the points free and digital on day one.
Yep.
And so we're fairly excited about all of this.
Now, hopefully that stays free throughout the edition. Again, the data sheet cards are going to be available for those who want it. Which makes me think codexes are gone.
One of the questions that's popped up quite a lot.
But yeah, I like this. I like the card approach.
So Crusade is definitely still a part of Warhammer 40,000.
Crusade is still a part of it. Okay, I've been meaning to try that out. I just haven't had the opportunity, so it's good to see that staying.
You've taken your troops through all sort of battlefields to the distant corners of the galaxy. There will be some ways to port that army into the new edition, which is pretty cool. There will also be some brand new expansions for Crusade. So the new edition starts with the 4th Tyrannic War. That might give you a sense of where some of the first Crusade expansions might go. But if you enjoy Crusade, and lots of people do, there is still definitely ways to engage with that in the new edition.
It's fair to say that Crusade was one of the big hits of the previous edition, and I don't.
Yeah, it definitely is an investment, but from what I've seen, people like it. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Like the grand narrative, whether it's in organized plays, we start to connect more of a narrative element to that.
I do hope they make some more Crusade resources available because I had a hard time parsing it. Is my main issue.
First preview will give Eddie and his team all the time.
At least in terms of army building, that's my main issue with it.
Yeah. So. New edition of Warhammer 40,000 will be coming in summer. We have a few weeks and months yet before we get there, so keep checking out warhammercommunity.com. You can sign up to a newsletter to find out all the news as it happens. We've got loads of stuff to show you, including new miniatures. We'll talk about all the new rules we've mentioned in loads more detail, all the new lore, everything about it. Follow along on warhammercommunity.com, and keep up to date.
We could talk your ear off all night long. Thank you for getting up so early or so late, depending upon your personal time zone, to share this time with us, to share the excitement with us. We've actually done it twice now, once live for Adepticon and once live for all of you. It's been a pleasure.
But you need an Excel spreadsheet, yeah. Hopefully they figure that out. That was my main issue.
Favorite thing in the other previews we had?
I was a big fan of the Lion.
It's pretty cool.
It's always cool.
2 previews in a row, back to back. We're just like, I am hyped beyond belief. We had it with the LVO preview, because of the Cerberus, the new Seraphim models, the Strike Force Agastus box. I know everybody hates the Desolator squad. I don't personally mind it that much. Like, I'm fine with the crazy looking rocket launcher Nerf gun things.
Times ahead for every single game system basically is getting treats in the next few.
And then the Cerberus, the new Seraphim models.
We won't keep you up any longer. You can hear more.
And that is it.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. See you guys.
Okay, again, and then you have this preview. You have the new edition announced. You have the new Seraphim models, the new Siege of Cathonia book. I'm really excited to see what's in that. And, of course, the Lion. He's back. I like having the lore behind each squad. It could all be a lot of paperwork, though. Yeah, I don't mind if the lore is like a novel, but don't make the rules a novel, for crying out loud. Like, one day I'll figure out how to parse Crusade, but yeah. And of course, there's all the doomers in the chat, but like, even the stuff I didn't care about, it was like, cool. That looks cool. I mean, like, you saw my reaction to the new Underworld stuff with the Zeech warband. That was awesome. Also, Slight Stoic Termies were in Ultra. I mean, of course they're going to be Smurfs. What else do you expect? What are you going to do about it? Yeah, again, my big questions out of this. What other units are going to be in the Siege of Cathonia book? What are they going to do with the Deathwing Terminators? Because, again, they were their own kit for the longest time. And then, what was the other question I have? Oh, yeah, I need to figure out how the army building works for 10th edition. That's going to be kind of the main thing, because I'm not sure. I couldn't parse it entirely because I was kind of talking over it. So, I mean, if you came here to listen to just the stream, that wasn't exactly a good idea on your part. But I make bad ideas all the time, so, yeah. Wait, did I do something wrong? What? Oh, okay. I saw, like, they in caps, and I'm like, did I screw up somebody's pronouns? What did I do? Okay, but no, that was just 2 separate messages. Okay, panic averted, thank God. But yeah, overall, pretty good, I'd say. Little disappointed there weren't any new Heresy models, but we'll probably be getting something tomorrow morning anyways, although I have been watching the Forge World website. There hasn't been anything yet, that has been removed, so we'll see. Probably going to be an upgrade kit of, like, watch as it's, like, resin breacher kit. I accidentally hit the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, it's probably going to be a resin breacher kit. Let's be honest with ourselves. But, overall, yeah, somebody in the chat summarized this well. Hopefully they elaborate on the troop limit because Horde armies will be royally gimped. Yeah, but overall, good stream. And, yeah. Scorp is now messaging me. I will get back to him on that later. But for now, hopefully you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, even though I got a bit rambly at times. If you did, there's a little purple button you can push down below to show that if you're watching this on Twitch. Or if you're watching the YouTube re-upload of this, there's a little red button you can push down below to show that. And, yeah, nice little break in the new old school coverage for Transformers to be excited about this. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. I have the green screen now. Finally got a haircut so my hair doesn't look like a complete mess. So, yeah, we could do this. And you'll be seeing my face a lot more, hopefully, now that I've got the lighting situation kind of figured out a little bit. But I'm going to shut up now so I don't ramble on for a half hour. Good stream tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed. And that will do it for this broadcast. Peace out, y'all.